Welcome to the Danger Zone, Terrible Infant Movies and TV podcast. We have, myself, Will, in the studio today. We've got Mike.
Hey, what's up?
We have Jim.
Hi.
And today we're going to tackle the issue of R-rated superhero movies. Well, I guess R-rated versus PG-13.
Yeah.
The most obvious recent ones coming to mind being Logan and the Deadpool movies.
Yep.
So, if you guys want to get us started?
Yeah, all three of those are fucking awesome.
I loved Logan. I haven't seen the Deadpool movies.
Deadpool is
funny, it's absurd.
Yeah, it's a really nice change of pace and change of scenery from everything else that Marvel and Disney are putting out, but
and DC too.
Yeah, it's true.
I know their films seem darker, but they're still PG-13 movies. Right. And I guess a good recent example and why this topic came up is Venom is just coming out. It's PG-13 movie. And it's literally about an alien symbiote who eats people and is violent.
I read
so how is that a PG-13
so
movie?
Violent. Yeah.
So it's like doing a Punisher movie, which is another R-rated superhero movie, I guess, even though he's not a superhero. But it's like doing a Punisher movie where he doesn't shoot everybody. It's like
Punisher 1 was PG-13 , right? Or was it R?
No, it was hard R.
Really?
The Thomas Jane one or the Dolph Lundgren one from '89?
Thomas Jane.
Yeah, that one is a hard R. Yeah,
I guess so. Except Family Reunion, they just massacred everybody.
A lot of kids.
But isn't Punisher Warzone is super rated R compared to Thomas Jane, right?
But it's so over the top that it's funny. There's a scene where he punches a guy in the face and his face collapses and shit. But yeah, it's yeah.
I wish everyone listening could have saw the smile on Mike's face as he was explaining that punch.
I love the Punisher and.
Well, you liked it. So this is not a movie, but. The Punisher TV show is in essence rated R. Right?
Oh hell yeah, it is.
And it's a hard R. It's really violent, but I think.
But it's also
TVMA.
Huge ratings, right?
It did well. But,
I love Daredevil.
But Daredevil's TVMA.
I
and
love Daredevil.
All of them are actually.
Because it's basically like a martial arts. It has the tone of those really dark, brutal Korean movies, but it has a kung fu aspect too. I love.
But all those are TVMA, and I think in the last 5 years, they're really well reviewed and do really well for Netflix. So it's you have that. You have Logan, which did well and people love. Deadpool did really well, people love. So why aren't we seeing more R-rated movies? Especially I get it, Ant-Man doesn't need to be an R-rated movie. I get it, but
But what if it was?
But what if it was? Or but Venom.
Ant-Man
Venom's a good
Wasp.
example. Venom should not be a PG-13 movie,
Ant-Man.
right?
I get so didn't Tom Hardy say there's 40 minutes of scenes that are not
some of his favorite
movie,
scenes? They asked him what are your favorite scenes, and he's oh, they were all cut out. It's all right, and he wants to make an R-rated movie,
the sequel, right? Yeah.
But I mean, the reason, you look at these anomalies Logan and Deadpool, whatever, but the most basic, easy to understand reason why studios make PG-13 is because you're opening up the coffers to an entire, billions of people worth of a generation that can't buy a movie ticket to a rated R movie. It's as simple as that.
Well, and it's a family movie too, right? And even if people are okay with their kids seeing R-rated movies, you're not taking if you're of the generation, for instance, if I were to bring my son to an R-rated movie, I'm not gonna bring my fucking parents too. But if I'm seeing a PG-13 movie and everyone's in town visiting, that's why all those movies come out. That's why Star Wars comes out at Christmas, because 3 generations of people are going to see it together.
Yeah, but it's for me, it's I know because I can't think of a recent R-rated superhero release that didn't do well box office wise. Maybe it's not making $1 billion, but
was
I know it's
Kick-Ass
not a lot.
Hit?
Yeah, the first one was.
But is Kick-Ass a superhero movie?
It's supposed to, it's a comic movie.
Yeah, it's a parody. Yeah, okay.
I guess the old Blade.
But do they have superpowers?
That's not recent though.
No.
Oh yeah, dude, Blade.
They didn't have.
I forgot, but I thought Blade Trinity was PG-13.
And it bombed.
But the first two, and Guillermo del Toro did the second one. The second one's fucking awesome.
Yeah, but you're talking 20 years ago now. That's not recent at all.
But another example of that is they're not superhero movies but the Expendables. First one, big money. Second one, good money. Third one, for some reason, PG-13.
Well, the Matrix movies are all rated R. I feel like it would be harder to convince people to let you make a movie like that and make it R now.
Yeah.
Yeah, what about that new Robert Rodriguez movie? The War Princess or whatever?
Oh, yeah. Isn't that a weird combination of live action and CGI or
weird
something?
graphic novel type thing? What's it?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's Evita. Don't cry for me, Argentina. So, are there is there stuff being greenlit? Do we know of that's coming down the pipe where they're
I mean,
saying...
so when... hold on, let me look this thing up real
Deadpool's an
quick.
interesting proposition, though, because Hugh Jackman has been Wolverine for so long, right?
Yeah.
And that was his last movie. And so you almost, like, even though it's rated R, you know you have an audience and you know it's an event. Whereas Deadpool, to me, is more of an interesting case study and an anomaly because...
It kind of came out of nowhere.
Right, and people were petitioning for it to be made, and Ryan Reynolds had played Deadpool in that fucking horrible Wolverine movie.
Yeah.
But it was like, it was like the beginning of the franchise, not like the epic finale to it.
Yeah.
And so that's like an interesting.
Ever since Ryan Reynolds played Deadpool in X-Men Origins Wolverine, like the Deadpool standalone film, like was gonna happen ever since then. And the movie came out like 2006, right? That's fucking forever ago. And then
2008. When was it?
It took about 10 years to finally get it made.
Yeah, and like the reason that they start off the franchise that way is because Deadpool and Wade Wilson is like, you know, the merc with a mouth, like the mercenary with a mouth. Like it's, you know, and even during like one of the marketing campaigns for the movies on April Fool's, the year that they were in production, Ryan Reynolds tweeted out that, you know, just came through from the studio, like Deadpool's going to be PG-13, you know, like let's do this or whatever, like trying to get like his followers amped up, and everyone's like, oh fuck this movie, blah blah blah. But like he did on April Fool's, and like the next day he's like, you're all fucking idiots.
But I guess, I mean, I get why most of them are PG-13. My argument is that more R-rated superhero films would be good because it would give you a chance to do something. Like one of the things...
It diversifies.
Yeah, one of the things you mention a lot is that a lot of the Marvel films all look the same, and it's because they can't really take a lot of risk. They're limited to a PG-13 rating, so you can do this stuff, you can't do that. So if you had a couple more R-rated movies, you could actually have a chance to sort of experiment a bit, but still have that familiarity of a superhero movie, so you still have that built-in audience. So, like, you
can do so much with... I know this is not a superhero movie, but I just thought of, as you were saying that, RoboCop, which is, like, such a fucking good movie, and you can do so much with having the R rating of, like, the tone of that movie. I feel like wouldn't work as a PG-13.
The remake was a PG-13.
But was it good?
No, it wasn't
see,
good.
this is what I'm saying. And, like, I mean... There's just so many good examples from the past of like the Terminator movies, Predator, like. So what do you the new Predator movie? I know that Predator is not a superhero, but do you think that?
But he's a fucking super strong hero
like,
villain.
Well, that was a hard R.
Super badass
movie.
There's cool scenes of violence, and you could. It's clearly made for adults.
And it's and like you can take, because I don't know if people have seen that movie, and this is not a spoiler, but. I think the trailers made that movie out to be pretty serious, but it's actually really funny.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Like on purpose, really funny. Yeah. And so I feel like if you were to make an R-rated... I mean, we've seen PG-13 horror movies and we've seen PG-13 comedies. It's just not the same.
It's not.
Like, I don't think it would have the same... Like, the mixture of extreme violence that you can do with R and the crass, silly humor that you can do with R is what makes that movie what it is. Whereas if you were constrained to PG-13 violence, that the amount of juxtaposition between that and the humor wouldn't be as extreme, and I don't think it would work.
Yeah. I'm not saying every superhero movie needs to be R, but like it's just a good change of pace, and I can't think of one coming out in the next few years. That's
it allows for diversity
movie.
Too, because Logan and Deadpool are so different.
Yeah,
right?
Logan's just completely different.
But who knows what the MPAA rating is going to be on this shit? But when Deadpool 2 was like gearing up for the release, it was getting so much positive buzz, like with tracking, they knew it was going to be a hit. They signed Josh Brolin, by they, I'm guessing. I mean Marvel. That's me Marvel. But Josh Brolin signed a 4-film deal for like his Deadpool villain character. Like he plays a villain in Deadpool 2, but it's like he ends up, spoiler alert, he like ends up not sort of being the villain at the end.
He's like an anti-hero kind of thing.
Yeah, sort of. So like he's got a 4-film arc now, like guaranteed. So like who knows if
because it's going to go into X Factor and all this other
stuff. Yeah, which I think
X Factor?
It's like a group team up of.
Is he going to be rated R?
Cable and.
Cable's going to be in it. I loved Cable when I was a kid in the comics.
He was in the second Deadpool.
Oh, is he?
That's Josh Brolin.
Oh, okay.
So X Factor is like,
I had no idea.
Deadpool and Cable.
It's like the Deadpool class of
it's like the
Marvel.
Crew. They're supposed to be a little more violent.
Is Bishop in there?
I think so, actually, yeah. But you know, I would actually guess. I don't have any proof to this, but I would guess that film will be PG-13 because it's like a team up, and they're gonna want to. Because I mean, making $750 million just isn't enough. You have to make like $1.5 billion, right? For superhero
making
movie, right?
$750 million is not enough. You have to double it.
Maybe they should do an R-rated Fantastic Four, and people would actually see it.
No.
And hire Josh Trank to direct it.
I don't think.
And he would just get bogged down in his house.
They keep making Fantastic
Four movies,
they
put him in the same rental house.
Popular enough.
I want to see an R-rated fucking Hulk movie where
That'd
it just
rips people
the
apart.
shit out of fucking everyone.
Would you want Edward Norton to play him again?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I want to see Slut Test.
Wasn't the whole thing
It's
with...
just a gangbang. And they're all in costume.
Shut the fuck up.
They didn't... What was the deal with the Edward Norton? Like, they didn't like working with him or something?
I don't know. I don't think anyone likes working with him.
I think he's supposed to be like his character in Birdman. That's supposed to be him.
Well, yeah, so what I've heard about Edward Norton is that he... And this is one of the things I think is kind of silly about the entertainment industry, film industry, is that Edward Norton is a fucking phenomenal actor, right? He's also a very good writer, and we know this because he's written movies and shit, right? And from what I understand, he will rewrite his dialogue, and he'll challenge the writer on the script, and he'll challenge other actors to be better, but it's like, he's not being an asshole, he's saying, rise to my level.
Yeah.
But the film industry, as we've spoken about in previous podcasts, requires a product, and there's a huge demand, and in order to meet the demand with the supply, you need to hire subpar people. So if you're Edward Norton, I've heard Kevin Spacey's the same way. Like, in all of Kevin Spacey's transgressions aside, he's a great fucking actor. And it must be really fucking annoying to get cast in these movies where, like, there's one or two other great actors and then a bunch of people just filling in parts.
I imagine
and
Christian
that's what
Bale's like that.
And I understand, from what I understand about Edward Norton, that's his issue. Is that he doesn't want to work with scrubs, and when he tries to get people to like raise themselves to his level, they're too sensitive and they get bent out of shape about it, or they go complain to the studio, and the people working for the studios are insecure fucking scrubs too, and they all have their little gossip circles, and like, Edward Norton is so mean to me, and then they create this reputation for someone who's actually just like really adamant that art should be good and not fucking garbage, and is better than them, and they can't, like, it like just makes them angry, and they're like porcupines raising their little spines.
God damn, that's the best fucking thing I've ever heard.
Could be.
Anger rant.
Oh man, can we just sign off now?
But I guess so. Like, I don't know what I want to say.
I don't know either.
R-rated superhero movies.
Yeah.
Well, what would be some good characters? Like, who would you want to see in an R-rated superhero movie? Obviously,
Logan.
That's Logan too.
Bring him back to life.
I'm a little like over Logan and Wolverine, not because I love the movie, but he's in so many fucking movies.
Yeah, it's been like 8 movies or something.
I love the Punisher, but he's already in a TV series. He doesn't need to make a movie. Gambit, which has been in like development hell for like 10 years itself.
Would that be an R-rated? Is he violent in the comics?
No, but he like fucks everything. Oh. So it'd be like really like what I read, the latest thing, what they want to do with it to make it, and if it works, could be really cool because it'd be very different. It's not really a superhero film. It's more like a heist film because he's a thief. Okay. So it'd be like a heist film with superheroes. So
Gambit's 11.
Yeah, it could be fun, right? Or it could be complete trash.
Tower Heist too. Gambit.
But like that'd be cool. I think they were talking about making a Silver Surfer movie.
I want to see fucking Grendel. You remember Grendel?
Yeah.
Grendel's violent as fuck, right? And the comic's got like a samurai sword and like slices people up and shit. Is he too like niche of a character though? Do you think to get his own movie?
Probably. But again, like I mean, how big were Guardians of the Galaxy before the movie came out? Like, I didn't know any of those fucking things, and I mean, I'm not the biggest comic book fan. But
I didn't either. And I see your point, but like, so we're talking about rated R versus PG-13. It's like if you look at something like the first Avengers movie that came out in 2012, the one that like blew everything else out of the water at that time, versus. We keep talking about this because, like, you know, our resource pool is limited, but versus Logan. So Logan's a very hard R, and there's that scene where the Boyd Holbrook villain and all his, like, mercenary henchmen find, like, the desert hideout of Logan and Professor X and the dude that can't go outside.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, in the abandoned water tank or whatever. The villain guy, Boyd Holbrook, he sends in a couple guys to, like, go clear the place. And the little girl that's like the little version of Wolverine, like, comes out with the dude's decapitated head, like, in her arm, and then she just tosses it, and the head rolls, like, its entrails are coming out and shit. It's like you can't, and that's like when I saw the movie in theaters and people were like laughing at the like, holy shit, like it's fucking on, right?
Yeah.
You can't have that moment in the Avengers, right? And you got people like Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye, like fucking getting people between the eyes with fucking arrows left and
just
right.
don't see,
Iron Man's blowing up nukes and shit. Like
They're
the Hulk is
literally-
like smashing entire civilizations into nothing.
They're
but, like,
literally destroying a city with a population of 20 million people, and yet no one is
And doesn't
getting
James
aimed
Gunn,
and
doesn't
killed
there's
and-
in one of the James Gunn ones, that's Guardians, right?
Yeah.
There's a shot where they kill like 200 million people
and it's
because they
just like,
blow
yeah.
up a shitload of spaceships that are all filled with people
I
or
haven't
something.
seen it.
Well, in the latest Avengers, like all these people die and all these civilizations die, but like it's not really important.
Well,
Like,
that
you
was
never feel
I
the
think that
gravity
was a
of it.
talking point when the first Star Trek reboot, the J.J. Abrams one, came out because they blow up that whole fucking planet.
But it's like, who cares? You don't see anybody
so,
on
like,
that planet, right?
20 million people die, or 100 million people, or a billion, or whatever, in like a plot device, essentially.
Yeah.
And so, what is like the violence becomes
Yeah, and it's like
spinning tops. It's not like
if you start the movie by killing 20 million or 20 billion or whatever amount of people, like where do you go from there? Like,
but it's also like, I mean, violence has.
That's how Gangs New York started, dog.
This is like
Did
maybe.
Yeah, the big fight in Gangs New York's at the beginning.
Yeah, but that has so much impact. You know
Hell
what I mean?
yeah.
And I
that's
feel
not,
like
that is different than seeing
That's
like
fucking-
a
that's
sci-fi
way
planet
rated
just
R.
explode.
that's what I'm saying. And I think
You
this
know?
is maybe like overly philosophical or like sensitive, but you live in a world where there's already so much violence, and if you like accustom children to seeing endless violence with no consequence, then even if you're in a privileged position like us of being protected from most violence by living in a country like the U.S., if you see like war on TV or like this refugee crisis or something, there's probably some mechanism by which it's not even real to you. It's just part of this bombardment of media in which there's constant fucking death and destruction, and there's no consequence to it.
Yeah, and I think with PG-13 movies, you kind of have like we've been talking about a formula, and Marvel has their formula, DC has their formula, and I think with when you make an R-rated movie, you can actually change the formula. You can make a different kind of movie because like all those movies, the PG-13 movies are action heavy, sci-fi action heavy. Whereas Logan, there's some brutal action scenes, but it's like a drama, right? A lot of it is a dramatic film.
Or like a western.
And Deadpool is basically like a comedy, right? And so if you make an R-rated movie, you can put other stuff in it, so you don't have to just rely on like space battles and like parkour scenes and shit like that, right? You can put a fatty falling down some stairs,
Yeah.
and that's how you make a good movie, and you just don't see that.
And
a
I
lot.
feel like there's more gravity to character. My first thought was Hong Kong movies, like if you're thinking about like Ringo Lam, John Woo, people like that, like their movies are very violent and they kill characters, but like because they're adult movies, not like porn movies, but like like for an older audience, the characters are like real people, and they have weight to them, and they die in violent ways, and it's not pleasant. But I mean, even with James Cameron, like, and obviously you can't replicate the talent of someone like James Cameron, even if your movie's rated R, right?
Yeah.
But his characters are so fucking good, but he has so much room to play with it. Like if Terminator 2 had been a PG-13 movie, I can't imagine that those relationships would have been as meaningful.
And Terminator 2 is not. If you watch it, it's not really. Like, there's some violent scenes, but it's not overly
bad.
that violent,
it's not.
right?
I saw that movie when I was like 8 or whatever, and I didn't find it disturbing at all. And I saw like
It's a very easy movie to cut for like general purpose viewing on TV.
The only,
and that's
like,
why I was
yeah.
on a bunch.
My younger sister was born in 1988, and for the first like 15 years of her life, Terminator 2 was her favorite movie.
Yeah.
Like she, like little kids could watch it and be like,
the first.
hell yeah.
The first movie I ever wrote was I was like maybe 9 years old, and I wrote Terminator 3 because I didn't want to wait for sequel for Terminator 2 to come out. So I was like, okay, these movies get written, right? That's how they get made. So I just like sat down and I wrote it, and this was before people had like everyone had their own computer. So I had my teacher type up the story for me, and she printed it, and I drew like illustrations on it and shit.
Do you still have that?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
But I also drew for that same year, and I think I was in 3rd grade, for back to school night. You have to draw like, well, don't know if this is something everyone does, but we drew self-portraits and we put them in the room, and our parents had to find ours or whatever. And I drew me on a Harley with a shotgun with those fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger sunglasses. And my teacher was like, we can't put this on.
I bet you 91, 92, that was a really popular Halloween costume. Just like his getup.
That movie is so good.
But like what we mentioned, like the characters in R-rated properties generally tend to be better. Like, you know, we're talking about like the Marvel TV franchises like Daredevil, Punisher, you know, Jessica Jones. Those characters have like big flaws and big problems, and like you can relate to them a little better. I can't relate to any of like Guardians of the Galaxy or Hulk or Thor. Like, dude's like flying around with a hammer. Like, you can't relate to any of that, and like there's less gravity to their situation versus like watching the Punisher movie, and like the whole first episode he's just like this like obviously damaged war veteran, and then he just goes ham on some people, and it's like really brutal, and then he buries them in like cement, and it's like, all right, this is much better than like watching them like play on a surfboard or
all like there's like a mentality too of like when you commit to making an R-rated movie, you commit to like earning your rating.
Yeah.
Whereas I think PG-13 is the opposite.
You have to
commit
fight to not
get a rating.
R-rated movie, anything you can really think of, you can do. Whereas PG-13, you have to fit it into... But that includes
like the mature, like, you know, the director of Logan talked about how like we wanted the R not because we wanted extreme violence, we wanted the R because we wanted to make a meaningful like movie for adults, or that had mature themes. Whereas with PG-13, I felt like what you're doing is you're trying to get as much action and spectacle as you can without stepping over the line into this is too complex, or this is too violent, or like you don't want to step over what like a child can comprehend.
Yeah.
Which limits you, I guess. If you're thinking, obviously, like children have unlimited imaginations, but when you get into the complexities of the character and stuff like that, that's not something that they can wrap their brains around.
So then, like, how do you explain like Avengers: Infinity War and like Black Panther and whatever, fill in the blank with that, any of these other, you know, recent Marvel movies making like literally in the billions, and people across all demographics and age groups like, oh, that's like really liked it, blah blah blah, like it's one of my favorite movies ever, because it's not just 13 to 17-year-olds going to see Infinity War.
No, because their parents go too, but their parents are in a state of arrested
development. But there's a bunch of people of like our age group that are all about those fucking movies and like line up on opening night.
I don't hate those movies.
I would argue that the generation of people who grew up 80s into the 90s with Spielberg and stuff like that, the movies that they liked when they were in high school or in middle school, they kept liking, because those aren't bad movies. Like Raiders of the Lost Ark is not a bad movie, right? But if you never go through a phase of challenging your taste or of like trying to adapt to something else, if you keep getting this steady stream of the same thing, you'll keep watching it, and then you'll take your kids to see it, and then it becomes this like multi-generational thing. I haven't seen Black Panther. Apparently it's a really good movie.
I just think the thing with I like a lot of some of the Marvel films, not all of them, but some, and I think the people behind it on the, you know, studio level are really smart about how they did it. Every film is connected in some way. They have a big plan for it. They're taking all this source material that has a huge fan base already. They're making movies like, you know, they may not be the best movies ever, but they're not like complete trash. Some people would say they are, but most people would say they're at least adequate movies. They're easy to get through. They're just like popcorn films, right? You sit down, you turn your mind off, you watch it, you're done, right?
I find them to be like, I mean, again, I haven't seen a Marvel movie since, well, I saw Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know when that came out. But it was
13,
Iron
14,
Man 3, I think.
14.
Yeah. I find them to be like really fucking loud and dumb.
Well, that's the point.
But like, it's
people
just
like that. That's like again going back to Fat Guy Falling. People like that shit.
Fat Guy Falling.
People like that stuff, and
it's true.
The reason the reason they make so much money is, again, everyone can go see it. There's a built-in audience, and it becomes like an event. Like Will said, like you see Iron Man 1, right? And it's connected to Iron Man 2, but it's also connected to Avengers and this. And you have to see all of them, right? You feel like if you don't see one, you're going to not know what's going on in that one. So they kind of like
social pressure
force you to go see it.
Yeah, that's why I don't go watch them anymore, because I have no fucking idea what happened the last 10 years in like that universe.
Yeah, and now it's like it feels like too much of a chore to catch up.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't really care. But
So what are we talking about? Like, is that?
But it's like I guess like these all look the same, but like not every PG-13 movie is the same because like Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy was pretty
there
dark.
are really good PG-13
and it was
movies,
pretty
yeah.
dark. It was different. It did feel like an adult movie. It just didn't have like, you know, the horrific violence
There's no
or
blood
language,
or
right?
sex or...
Which is fine because like, you know, Batman, that character, he doesn't kill, first of all, which I hate.
Well,
that's why I don't like Batman
but
as
in
much
the
as Punisher.
fucking in the Michael Keaton one, he goes ham and kills everyone.
I know, which is fun.
killed
That's
his
the
parents.
best Batman movie.
That's why I like the Punisher so much because he just kills everybody. He's so different than the heroes who like, and it's so dumb. Like we can't kill this guy. We'll send him to jail so he can break out and murder like 800 people, and then I'll put him in jail, and it just repeats the cycle. Punisher just shoots him in the penis,
Joker, yeah.
and you're done. Yeah, like the Joker, it's so
Well,
dumb.
RoboCop
He's
kills
like,
people.
I won't kill you, and I'm like, why won't you kill him?
He would kill you.
You're literally killing all these other people by not killing him. It's
Batman's
so
rule.
dumb.
Tell him, Mike.
See, if I made,
Let's get you in the writer's room, huh?
I know I would make a great superhero movie.
Well, and it's like with Superman too. It's like, don't you just want to see Superman go ham?
Yeah.
Just motherfucking
By not killing all these people, he becomes the villain, basically.
But
'Cause
they
he's
do.
sentencing
That's
all
what
these
I'm like.
people.
The point, like in the Avengers, like you got Hawkeye, like
He does.
But he's killing
But-
anonymous villains who are like aliens.
Yeah, but
or
it's still like the
whatever.
body count is like fucking in the,
No, the body count is
trillions.
obscene, but like it doesn't
It's like
mean anything.
fucking Iron Man just threw like a perfect spiral with a nuclear warhead, like just into a black
didn't
hole in
happen.
space. Yeah, and the first Avengers is like there's some wormhole,
Something like that, I think. Yeah.
right? Because there's some wormhole that opens up over like
And it's
Manhattan.
like,
Wait, is
I
this
want to
the
see
one
the
where-
scene where.
Oh wait, is that the first Avengers
Yeah.
movie? Yeah,
I want to
saw
see
that
the
movie.
other side of that scene where the wormhole opens up.
That's
and
what I
then
mean,
it
it's just
goes-
like, get rid
there's
of
like
this
this
nuke.
civilization that just
Yeah.
gets nuked.
It's Planet Vulcan from Star Trek.
So our heroes are like
They're
the
all
villains
gone.
of other planets, right? But yeah, so like I think that's just like my thing is you could make some really good R-rated movies, and this spurned from Venom being PG-13 movie, which completely doesn't make sense to me because that's one of the characters I would say would be ideal for an art.
Carnage.
He's like talking about eating people and shit, like it's just stupid, and he's not really a hero either.
I know it's hard
But-
for me too to like him. I think I don't have any problem with Tom Hardy, but I saw the trailer. For
I love
Venom.
Tom Hardy, but
Yeah, no, he's a really good actor, but like he's like Russell Crowe. He's like a beast, and he's playing like he's like an online
dweeb.
photojournalist or something. I'm
Yeah.
like, who believes this?
Yeah.
well, it's
Nobody.
actually weird because the character in the comics is a lot beastlier than Tom Hardy is.
Is he?
The character in the comics is like a 6'3" musclehead on steroids.
But does he have the job that this
Yeah.
Tom Hardy's character
But he's
has?
on like
Peter Parker.
steroids and shit. Whereas Tom Hardy's like 5'9".
So he's
and,
basically Bane for
Basically.
Batman.
Tom Hardy's a lot smaller than the source material,
That's interesting.
which is and that's sort of
it
like
doesn't mean anything.
no,
That's-
it
you
doesn't.
don't,
No,
like-
but it's like
I guess they can't make him too
that's-
similar to Peter Parker.
that's
right?
sort of the source material. It's fun because like Eddie Brock's just like this musclehead steroid big dude who for some reason they don't really explain why he works as a photographer for some random newspaper in New York. And it doesn't make any sense, but like just seeing that movie and like seeing all the other movies that Tom Hardy's in and like hearing his interviews, you can kind of tell that he wanted to make an R-rated movie and then Sony was like, no.
They should
we're
have
making a
made. They should have
PG-13
just made
movie.
the drop.
The Drop was
Instead
good.
of James Gandolfini, it was really
The
good
Drop was great, and it got really dark unexpectedly.
at the end. Yeah.
And I was like, yes, that's what I've been waiting for. He's like, he was gonna hurt my dog. Boom. I'm like, thank you. He wasn't gonna hurt your dog, and now he's not gonna hurt nobody no more. Fuckboy Superman would have been like, all right, I'll let you go this time. We'll see you next week. Yeah, we could wrap up on that, right?
Yeah.
You guys got anything to add?
Concluding thoughts.
My favorite R-rated comic book movie of the modern era is Logan. My favorite PG-13 is Iron Man 1.
I mean, the pool of R-rated films is so small. Of those, Logan is probably the best.
Is there an R-rated cut of Catwoman with Halle Berry?
Just running around.
We can make
naked.
one.
Just start drinking milk for like 2 hours and cursing a lot.
That'd be a good movie.
Just in a room with all mirrors.
I would say my favorite superhero properties are the Netflix TV shows, specifically Daredevil and Punisher. And they're pretty hard R's, or at TVMA, whatever.
What about...
PG-13, I don't know. none of them really stick out. They all blend together to me. Like,
Dag.
yeah.
I mean, one of my first ever favorite movies, and a movie I loved like to death as a kid, and had like VHS and stuff, was the first Michael Keaton Batman movie.
Yeah, it's good.
I fucking loved that movie.
With the Diet
and I
Coke
rewatched
commercial.
it recently, and it's still really good.
Yeah.
Because it's weird. It's like
weird.
very weird. I also really like I said in I was either this or the last podcast we did. I really like X-Men First Class a lot because it's basically like a James Bond movie, but with X-Men in it. And I love James Bond. My favorite R-rated one. I honestly can't
Logan,
think of any except for
Deadpool,
Logan and Deadpool.
And then there's older
Oh, and
ones like
Blade
Blade
movies,
and the
yeah.
Punisher movies.
I mean, Logan is probably my favorite of those.
Or a Billy Zane movie, The Phantom.
That's PG-13.
It has to be.
It probably is from like
can't be a
25
movie
years
ever.
ago.
Well, remember The Shadow with Alec Baldwin?
That is an R-rated movie, though.
Is it?
Yeah.
No, is
Pretty
it?
sure it is, yeah.
What about Doom?
That was such a disaster. With The Rock and Carl Urban and...
Is that
No,
Rosamund
Carl Urban
Pike.
was in the new one.
There
Because The
hasn't
Rock
been
was
a
in the
new one.
original.
Has there been a new Doom movie?
I thought there was.
No, there's a new Doom game.
Then what's Carl Urban in?
Dread.
Dread is
Dread is
fucking
awesome.
Dread is awesome, yeah.
badass. That's an
what he-
R-rated
I fucking
comic book
love
movie.
that movie.
That movie was good.
That's badass.
That movie's so simple. He just shoots a bunch of people, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I like the original too. The new one's way cooler.
The original's fun. Like, it's really campy.
Yeah.
And Stallone's in it for some reason. It has Rob Schneider in it for some reason, too.
The original one? So around the
Yeah.
time the original one came out, an uncle of mine gave me a bunch of his comic because when I was in middle school, I like fucking loved comic books, and I would go to the comic store and like hang out there and stuff. And my uncle had this huge collection of comic books, and he was like gonna get rid of some of them, and he gave me like a trash bag. He
Judge
was like,
Dredd ones?
take whatever you want out of here. And there were some like old school Judge Dredd
And
comics
those are
in
worth
there.
money now.
They're fucking badass.
Yeah.
I want to see like another like a cyberpunk like full on CGI fucking like Netflix budgeted Judge Dredd going ham fucking killing everyone movie. That would be awesome.
And yeah, Dread just didn't make enough money. It made almost nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it bombed big time.
Yeah.
Alex Garland should have directed it too. Ex Machina too. Dread too.
Yeah. We love
Okay.
going on tangents here.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. That's
So we
how it
don't have
goes.
like 6 endings.
It's fine.
We're just going
It'll be
DC
like
route.
Batman versus Superman with all his beginnings.
We'll just say Martha and be done with it, right?
Who's
Yeah.
Martha?
The mom.
So in Batman vs Superman, they
Oh
fight.
right. What did you say?
He's like, what did you say? He said, Martha, that's my mom. He's like, that's my mom too, and they become best friends
Yeah.
for no reason.
That's so good though, because it's so stupid.
There's not really a great reason for them to fight in the first place, and then there's not really a great reason.
But the comic book is really fucking good. The one where they actually fight.
because the comic books can be violent as fuck.
But it's also it's logical. But it's so have you read that comic book?
Nah, I haven't read comic books.
The Dark
in a long
Knight
time.
Returns. It's like really like 80s like dystopian.
like that
Like you'd
shit.
really like it. Yeah.
But
It's Frank Miller, right?
yeah, he did a bunch of shit. He created a bunch of shit. And he wrote a bunch of stuff.
I
I guess
gotta
Sin City
find out
can
more
be-
about this fucking Joker movie. Is it the Joaquin Phoenix one? Like
Todd Phillips is directing.
Yeah, I know.
Isn't that fucking weird?
But didn't he
be
do a
weird.
serious movie recently?
What was his last movie?
Oh, he did
War
that.
Dogs.
That Jonah Hill movie. Yeah. But like, is it rated R? What universe is it in?
I
I don't know, because Matt Reeves is making it the
thought
Batman.
there was 2 Joker movies.
There is, because
Yeah.
It's
the
just a
Joaquin
mess.
Phoenix Joker movie is not supposed to be in the same like timeline as Jared Leto's as Joker.
Right.
And then there's another one. And then there's the Batman too. Although Affleck left, so I don't know what they're doing with that.
But Matt Reeves is directing, which is exciting.
I thought they cast someone.
I
Did they
don't know.
not?
I don't think they have yet.
Gyllenhaal.
Probably Jeremy Irons.
Gyllenhaal lost it.
yeah, this is Batman.
Idris Elba.
No, because he's Alfred in the
Yeah.
in
And
the
he
one
becomes
thing.
he becomes
And
Batman.
Michael
Yeah.
Caine is Alfred.
There's an animated Batman about when he's like old, and it's actually pretty fun.
Well, that's in the Dark Knight Rises or Returns or whatever it's called, which is the comic book where Batman and Superman fight. Batman is old.
Yeah, which is it's fun.
What's that really good
joke, the Killing Joke. You know that?
Yeah.
That's like the Joker comic.
But it's like
Everyone
really
says it's, like,
violent.
the best ever.
It's like
yeah,
super
he like
violent.
I think he paralyzes and rapes Commissioner Gordon's daughter.
Yeah.
And then puts him in a fun house and drugs him and makes him look at pictures of it
Yeah, like see
to
that's
try to
that's,
drive him insane.
yeah, that's a hard R,
Yeah.
right? But you can't.
Yeah.
They're not going to do.
Well, they
that
made an
story.
animated straight to Blu-ray version, but it's apparently terrible.
Yeah, but they're not going to do that story in a big budget movie because like they just won't. It's too much of a risk, I guess.
Yeah. Well, no one wants to watch a movie about rape. It's
No, but
usually
like you
downer.
can have that happen. You obviously you don't have to show it, right?
Yeah,
you
but
can-
even still, I feel like in Logan, like there's a lot of violence. But I
Mm-hmm.
feel like when you go to rape, you're like putting yourself in such a non-commercial category. Like no one wants to watch Irreversible.
Yeah.
Like if you ever mention that movie to someone, they just like, ugh.
Yeah, it's tough to watch. But they actually show
Streaming
it,
on
right?
Amazon.
Is it?
It was, yeah.
I saw it once. I don't need to see it again.
I saw it in French with Chinese subtitles. And I was like, I don't really know what's going on, but I basically get it.
It's a good superhero movie. Should be rated PG-13. Do you have anything to add, or
I
you
heard
can wrap
that
up?
the Darren Aronofsky Batman movie is actually a remake of Irreversible.
Okay. That
What?
the joke didn't land very well.
No, it's true.
I think on that we'll sign off.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you for listening.
See you guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Welcome to the Danger Zone.